My name is Jocelyn, and I'm the Executive Director of the Family Recovery Program Incorporated, as well as the Harry and Jeanette Weinberg Building at Sage Center, which is where we are today. So the Family Recovery Program is a program that was created in 2005 to help individuals who struggle with substance abuse and who've lost custody of their children as a result of that substance use. So we were created just purely to help families reunify, to help them be stronger, and to help children come back home and be with their moms and dads, which is what is a fundamental part of what we do. So the Family Recovery Program has very intensive case management services. So all of the parents, when they first get introduced to our program, are offered a wealth of services to help them improve their lives. First, they have addictions counselors that work with them just about every day to try to help them make better decisions about where they want to go for treatment. We offer them every level of treatment. We don't do treatment at the Family Recovery Program, but we utilize the resources of treatment around the city and the state. So they work with case managers who, as I said earlier, are certified addictions counselors. In addition to that, everybody gets an opportunity to receive a mental health evaluation. We partner with local mental health facilities that are actually in my facility, and they provide us with a psychiatrist once a week, as well as on-site clinicians. So we have PRP and we have therapists that work with the children and the parents. In addition to that, the Family Recovery Program is actually a family dependency court, one of 4 in the state of Maryland. And so we work very closely with the court system, which is on Gay Street, the Baltimore City Juvenile Justice Center. And our parents actually get referred from there to the Family Recovery Program. Once there, as I said, they get those intensive services, they meet with their case manager, they get opportunities to meet with psychiatrists, but they also get an opportunity to meet with what we like to call parent mentors. And those are individuals who have been through our program, who are generally graduates of our program, who understand what it feels like to kind of lose your child and get the child back and to go through that whole process. So they also work in our program. We have lots of other creative positions like a re-engagement specialist, an individual who goes out and looks for people who've forgotten how special it is to be a part of the Family Recovery Program. Our parents also receive very intensive drug testing. So everyone receives drug testing between 2 to 4 times a week. It is observed drug testing, and it happens at our offices. While there, they also are exposed to 12-step meetings, whether it be NA, AA, CA, whatever we decide to bring in that particular week. We have lots of support groups that they're given. And we also have a lot of fun. The Family Recovery Program likes to celebrate. So we have a graduation ceremony every quarter. Some of them we do here at the Sage Center, some we do over at the building that we have on Gay Street. And we have an incentive store. So every parent, as they move through our program and they accomplish certain things, they're able to get little vouchers, which allows them to go to our incentive store and use the vouchers to purchase goods that we've purchased from local merchants to improve their lives. Things like DVD players or personal hygiene products. But it really gives the parents a sense of pride because they're actually able to work towards something. So if a parent wants to get, say for instance, a DVD player, they realize they have to be on a tier 4 to do that. And that means you have to meet with your case manager a certain number of times, or they have to have a certain number of drug tests that have no sign of any drugs in them. And once they've accomplished that, then they're able to win things for their children. Sometimes we get donations of bikes and TVs and things like that. So just lots of life improvement. All of our parents get the option to get life improvements. So we offer GED classes. So we have a partnership with BCCC, and we offer GED programs and adult basic education here at Sage as well as over at the other building 3 days a week. Also, we have all types of women's rap. We work with lots of different parenting programs. One of our favorite is Circle of Security. So all of our parents are involved in some sort of parenting program. And we have loads and loads of partnerships. The Family Tree is one of our partners. Of course, Baltimore City Department of Social Services, a variety of different legal outlets around town. And we all partner together to make sure that the parents have everything that they need so that reunification, when it is decided that that is the path that our parents will go down, that is the key that everybody is focused on. In order for parents to get there, it takes a lot of work. First, they have to be willing. Our parents are given an opportunity to join our program. It is voluntary. And so they're introduced to the program by our court coordinator who actually goes to the court hearing, that very first court hearing when they're told that their child is being removed and either placed in foster care or kinship care. So I generally have 1 to 2 staff there that day to offer support to the parent. The parents are given an option to join our program, and if they so choose to join our program, they're wrapped around with those intensive services. the parent has to be willing, they have to be humble, and they have to be able to be honest with the things that have happened to them, because they have to really take a good look at what got them here in order to get them back on the other side. All of our parents love their children, and they love them immensely. So I need everyone to understand that. But what happens sometimes is that drugs just get in the way, and it stops them from being able to be the citizens that they need to be. We have parents in our program who have bachelor's degrees, who are teachers, who've done really, really great things. And it just so happens sometimes that the drugs get in the way. And getting better is, for many of them, the hardest thing they've ever done in their lives. Our parents have to get up every morning and call our drug testing line every day to determine if their name has been called for drug testing that day. And once they do that, they begin the trek to either office to begin the process of going through the drug test. Then they have to go to drug treatment, whether that be inpatient, outpatient, detox. They have to participate in that. If they're in any type of educational program, they have to go to school 2 to 3 times a week. Many of them are looking for housing at the same time that they're doing all this. In addition to receiving all different kinds of counseling, many of our clients, about 90%, are in some form of mental health therapy. And so they have to take care of that as well. So the process of getting better is just one that's very, very cumbersome. And they have to work with the judge, and they have to work with lawyers. And so they really have to be willing and able. But what you see throughout all of that is that the parents, they want to be with their children, and the kiddies want to be with their parents. And one of the things that we do is we try to remove some words that remind the parents how sick they are. So we don't say that a parent has visiting time, because in our estimation, parents don't visit with their children. So we call it parenting time. So every week, every child, every parent, they visit until we have that opportunity for them to actually become reunified. And then we have a big celebration. Again, we're back to partying, and we just have a good time, just really making sure everyone knows how special that is. But it's a lot of work. FRP generally says that you're going to be in our program for 9 to 18 months. The Harry and Jeanette Weinberg building at Sage Center, where we are today, we try to say it's about 12 to 18 months, but what we're seeing is probably for many parents going to be close to about a 3-year commitment total from beginning time in the family recovery program to the time that they spend here with us in the Sage Center. So it's a long time, but one of the things that we know for sure is that most of our parents have not been using for just a year or two. Many of our parents have been using for 10 to 15 years. And so reversing some of those habits, changing their mindset, takes a long time. And so what we understand is that time is important, and so we want to make sure that they have that time to change. And so that's why we're looking at about 3 years now for parents to kind of get in the system and to really begin that pattern of change, to understand they have to get up. You have to do these things every day. You know, it seems repetitive at first to them, but we remind them all the time, all of my staff does it. We get up, we show up, we're present. And so they have to do the same thing. And they really enjoy the repetitiveness of life because there's something that they feel, it makes them feel warm and it makes them feel loved. To know that every day I have someone that I can go and talk to and share my deepest, darkest secrets with, and to know that the next day they're going to be there. And one of the things that we have learned is the severity of trauma that our parents have experienced. When you first start working with individuals and you see them on the outside, they're beautiful, they're gorgeous, they're happy, they're just grateful to be in a place like the Family Recovery Program. But then when you start to peel it back, and they become like an onion, and what's one layer, then there's a second layer, then there's a third layer. And what we find for both our men and our women is just a very, very long history of abuse, mental, physical, spiritual abuse, just any type of abuse you can possibly imagine. And the trauma is very, very deep for our parents, and it's very real. And they'll share it with you. And most of it is, for many of us, unbelievable and shocking. For our parents, none of it's unbelievable, none of it's shocking, because they've been living with it from day to day. There's a lot of familial trauma. There's a lot of community trauma. Many of our parents were victimized by family members. Some were victimized by community members. Some were victimized by church members. It just goes on and on and on. And it really is unbelievable sometimes, but what it shows to me, and it lets me know that our parents are willing to bear themselves in order to get better. But what we also know is that that trauma creates serious mental health conditions. And our parents have to find other ways of trying to deal with what has happened. Some of them have bipolar disorder. Some of them have a variety of paranoid, schizophrenic disorders. So our parents kind of really take a lot of time in trying to hide what they've been through their mental health issues. And here and over at FRP, we take the time to work with them to make sure that we begin to peel back that onion so that that stuff gets exposed, so that never has to hold them back anymore, so that they can use that as something that they've been through, but not what they have to continue to go through. But it's very serious. And it's something that, even if it happened at 2 or 4 or 6, they can tell you the story like it happened yesterday at 2:15. It is the most amazing thing I've ever seen. So I don't wish that on anybody, but I know that the process of getting better from that is one that's just very cumbersome and one that needs lots and lots of support, and we're here to give that to them. Working with individuals with trauma really requires a special touch. Here at the Family Recovery Program, we are very, very serious and intentional about the work that we do. So we take what the parents say very seriously. If they tell us they've been injured, we make sure that that injury never happens to them again while they're with us. We hear them. Our vision at FRP is that we see our parents. That stands for strengthen, encourage, and equip. And so that's what everybody has to do. First, you have to see the people that you work with. They're broken. They've been abused. They've been misused. See them and understand that. They don't want you to put blinders on and pretend that, just because they look good on the outside, that the inside is all good. It really isn't. But see them for who they are and then acknowledge their pain. They're okay with that. They're okay with you knowing their story and going back and discussing it with them. Don't be ashamed of the pain and don't be afraid of the pain, because once they begin to trust you, they'll begin to share things that'll almost blow your mind. But it's in that trusting relationship that they're able to really divulge what has hurt them the most. And as they begin to, again, unpeel those layers from that onion and they learn that you have their back and that you trust them, then they're able to open up and really give it to you. The trauma that they've been through, the pain that they've been through, all can be better. Everybody here at FRP and at SAGE gets better, but it's just a process. You have to trust the process. They have to trust the process, but everybody has to be willing. Every day isn't going to be pretty. There's some days here at Sage Center where there's a lot of noise, there's a lot of fright, there's a lot of screaming, there's a lot of sadness. You can't be afraid to deal with it and to see it face on and to understand this is trauma. This is someone that's been through a lot. Their anger really isn't at me. Their anger is really at their dad that they didn't get finished telling how they really felt. And so really understanding how the parents displace their emotion and not taking what they say personally, but understanding that that is a part of the process of getting better. The people who work for me really have to always work on themselves. I encourage people all the time, make sure you're taking care of your mental health, because if you're not mentally healthy, then you can't come in here and work with individuals who are struggling, because they can see when we're not together. They can see when we're not organized. They understand that. They know we all have bad days, but they're very keen to our moods and our emotions. So I always recommend and suggest to people, take care of yourself. Make sure you have balance in your life. Have fun on the weekend with your family. Play with your dog. And when you come to work, be ready and be armed with all the things that you've learned in your professional career, but be armed also with some compassion and understanding, and really have care and courtesy in your heart. Because when you're not sincere, the parents pick it up. And they are very clear that I don't want to work with this person, they're not sincere. And you don't have to share all of your own personal story. A lot of people feel like the only way that they can get through to a parent is to share all of their deepest, dark secrets. That's not necessary. Care, concern, honesty, and consistency are most important. So in many of the parents, we've had tremendous success. We have parents that have gone on to do really, really great things. For us, it begins really quietly. We see parents start to pay attention, and they start to ask a lot of questions. And I'll pay attention to them, and I'll say to my staff, you know what, Miss So-and-so, I think she's listening to us. I think she's hearing us. I had a parent the other day who she was placed on restriction, and I told her that she had to go to a 12-step meeting, but she had to find someone here in the building that she had to go with. And she told me, Miss Jocelyn, I can't find anybody. I said, it's about 40 people in this building. Find somebody. And she spent the better part of the day looking for a parent that was free to travel with her to go to a meeting and provide support. And about 5 o'clock, she said, Miss Jocelyn, I found somebody. And I said, that's tremendous. But she had to work. And when they start doing the work, and when it starts to matter to them, the light bulb starts going off, and I started saying, she or he is going to be okay. Some of the successes we've had are tremendous. We have a couple parents here at the Family Recovery Program at Sage Center that actually have full-time jobs. They work in major hospitals here in Baltimore City. They have recovered. They are working with their children and their families and working with some of our providers like the Family Tree. Some of our parents have purchased cars. We have a couple of our parents who are in school. They're getting their bachelor's degree. One young lady is getting a bachelor's degree in criminal justice. Many of our parents are working as peers, and they're getting hired as peers all around the city. So they're doing great things. Our parents still struggle sometimes with issues related to substance abuse. Many of them understand that recovery is a lifelong process, and sometimes there may be a slip. But what we try to encourage them to understand is sometimes there may be a slip, but don't make that be the end of your story. Make that just a part of your story and continue to move forward. We encourage everyone here to have a sponsor and to go to 12-step meetings and participate in the recovery process, because for our parents, recovery is a lifelong process. And even though they may get jobs and they may get cars and homes, many of our parents, I didn't get a chance to say, have their own apartments in the community, but they're going to always have to tend to their recovery. And that means making sure if they're on mental health medications, going to see a psychiatrist. If they're still in early recovery specifically, making sure they're going to 12-step meetings almost every day for some of them, making sure they stay in contact with the sponsor. So the process of recovery is cumbersome, but also the process of living is cumbersome. But success is possible, learning to live a different way is possible, and being better is possible, and that's what keeps us going. So I think what's most helpful when CPS workers and the courts are working with our parents is to really understand where they're coming from, and not from the position of sympathizing, but really showing empathy. And there's a really big difference between sympathy and empathy. And our parents are very clear about that. They don't want you to sympathize with them. They don't want you to feel sorry for them, but they want you to empathize. And for us, that means really understanding where they come from. And when you do that, then you don't judge them. You understand that there are pitfalls that they're going to go through and that they have areas of strength. And one of the things that we believe in here at the Family Recovery Program is strengths-based programming. We believe that all of our programs should be strengths-based. And so when you work with people, don't just talk about their challenges and things that have always happened to them, but we always try to start our conversations with what's happening good or what things that they're doing well. You know, when we do our treatment teams and we do our planning for our parents, the first things before we go through anything else that we want them to do is in every domain of our treatment plan, we identify what are the strengths regarding their family before we talk about their goals. What are their strengths about their sobriety before we talk about our sobriety goals? What are their strengths regarding their children and their other goals before we look at anything else? And so when people are reminded about their strengths, because we all have strengths, and no matter how many problems we've had, but when people are reminded about their strengths, it gives them a little bit of oomph when we have to tell them all the things that they have to do to kind of meet some of the other things that we want them to do. So remembering strengths-based as a philosophy, and that people do get better. You know, the work that we do here sometimes is very, very heavy, but we have to always say, people get better. We see it all the time. Children grow up. We have children now that have lived here 18 months. When they came in, they couldn't walk. Now they're talking and telling me what to do every day, right? So people get better, systems work, you know, the CPS and the courts, we all work together as one to try to encourage reunification for our parents. We couldn't do the work that we do without the judges, without the lawyers, without the CPS workers. They're all a tremendous part of our team. And together we can have success for the parents and the children. And that's what we all need to be focused on. What can the parents do for themselves, and what can we just do to support them in that journey? Because we can't walk it for them, but we walk along with them and we hold their hand and we encourage them going forward.